Welcome back, guys. This is the locker room vibes inside FPL segments, and in this video, we'll just give you a breakdown of how game week 17 went and how the fixtures went by, the kind of returns most managers had, and some thoughts heading into game week 18. But before we do get into it, I would like you to kindly hit that subscribe button. Let's grow the channel together. Leave a comment, let's know how you also did for game week 17. All right, so as I said, game week 17 is almost done. We have a match pending, so we'll just get into the fixtures. Let's see how some teams or most of the teams fared for game week 17. So it started on Saturday. Newcastle played a 2-2 draw with Chelsea. So it was a game of two halves. Newcastle winning one half, Chelsea winning the other. Very interesting match there. Bournemouth and Burnley played a 1-1 draw as well. We also had Brighton and Hove Albion. They played a 0-0 draw with Sunderland. We had Manchester City beating West Ham United comfortably at home by 3 goals to nil. Brentford beating Wolves by 2 goals to nil. Liverpool also beating Spurs by 2 goals to 1. Arsenal did same to Everton by beating them by a lone goal. Then Leeds United wrapped everything up comfortably with a 4-1 win over Crystal Palace. And on Sunday, it was just that one game. That was Aston Villa v Manchester United. And Aston Villa in good form won against this Manchester United team, still figuring things out. So they won by 2 goals to 1. And the last match of the round, we have Fulham taking on Nottingham Forest. So we hope for them the best from this match, as some managers still have one or two players who they would be expecting some returns from them. So let's see how that goes. So with the ranking so far, the highest as of now 146. So this is how his team looks like. So with his team, he had the likes of Lewis Porter, he had Timber, he had Semenyo, he had Rogers. So the top performers in his team, he had Lewis Porter, he had Semenyo, he had Rogers, he had Voltamed, he had Haaland. And the good thing was he triple captain Haaland, and that gave him 48 points. So if this for this game week, I think over 70% of managers had Haaland. And if you gave him the captain armband, you should know that you would be seeing a lot of greens this game week. So that's how his team was looking. Let's look at some of the managers worldwide. So I'm seeing a lot of reds, not because I didn't do so well, but it's just one of those things. So for the overall, let's look at picks and few managers. So this manager still remains on top. No change as of now. So 87 points. So let's see. He had Haaland and he captained him. So that was a plus. He had Higo, he had Semenyo, he had Rogers. So those were his top performers. You can see from the team that it was a really normal, solid team, but the outstanding or the marker, the player who did everything for him is Haaland. So let's see what the second as well. So he had Rogers, he had Semenyo, Calvin Lewin, and as usual, Haaland gave him the captain. So he had 103. So as I said, if you have Haaland and gave him the captaincy band, you should be good to go. So this manager had Semenyo, he had Rogers, he triple captain Haaland. He ended up with 109 points. So of course he also had Haaland. So if you really want, as I said it in my previous video, that if you really want to succeed, if you have Haaland, just give him the armband. I have made a personal decision to not really have some players in the first half of the season. So I, for one, have never used Haaland or bought Haaland from game week 1 till now. And I'm not going to buy him until the first half of the season is done. And once that half is done, then I now switch and focus on other things. I've been focusing on differentials, players that most managers really are not looking at, but are really performing. Those are the kind of players I have, not completely in my team, but at least I have a few of them in my team. just to see how that goes. I've been rewarded once or twice. Some two didn't go too well. This game week didn't go too well, but at least I'm above average, still trying to keep my head above waters, and we see how that goes. So this manager, he had 95 points. Of course, the captain Haaland, the constant in Rogers Semenyo. So that's how it's looking. As I said, if you have Haaland, you also had Haaland 108 points. Rogers Rice. So if you had Haaland, you captained him, you should be good to go. So that's how it's looking for the top about five for four managers worldwide. Let's get into my team review. So I went in right. I had O'Reilly, Senese, Timber, Foden, Saka, Rogers, Higo, Thiago, Mateta. So the rather unfortunate thing, I tripled captain Foden, and it didn't really work out, which is okay. So Foden, but it didn't work out. I don't have Haaland. You could go through my team, my past videos, realize I've never bought Haaland, and it's okay. So my team looks relatively average, and I had 63 points. So with a triple captain, 63 points, that's okay, above average. And let's see how that's so relatively, that's how it's looking. You just look at the player stats, see some of the players in form. So with some of the players I have most selected, so as I said, Haaland, 74% of managers owned Haaland, which is a plus. Saka 22.4, Higo 26.7. We have Bruno Fernandes 28.5, who just picked up an injury, so that is going to be a big blow to so many managers. Semenyo is 45.9. You have Voltaman with 17.9. Rogers with 16.8. So you go through, you realize some players were not really owned by managers, but someone like Rogers 16.8, not owned by too many managers, but still gave in the or provided the return. So just keep your head up. Look for some players at home who are in good form. Get a good team. So let's see how the fixture difficulty rating looks like for some teams. Get some on one or two of these players, and you should be good to go. So in the coming weeks, you expect Arsenal to have some tricky fixtures. So if you feel if you can't keep your hopes on them, you can easily. But there's an Arsenal team who have been very consistent this season, so there's no need to really rush away from them. You could just easily keep your trust in them. Then Aston Villa have some tricky fixtures coming up, after which they take on Nottingham. So Nottingham, then Crystal Palace, Everton. So for the next 3 game weeks, two are very dicey. Bournemouth also have a very tricky sets coming up. Brentford as well, very tricky sets coming up. Brighton and Hove Albion, after they take on Arsenal in the next game week 18, they have some good fixtures coming up. Burnley have some moderately good to moderate matches coming up. Chelsea have some tricky fixtures coming up, so they take on Aston Villa, Bournemouth, City. So it gets tricky for them. Let's see how it goes. Then Crystal Palace have somewhat tricky fixtures coming up. They've not been in too good a form so of late, so we hope to have the best. Everton have some tricky fixtures, or moderate to tricky fixtures coming up. Fulham have some moderate to tricky fixtures as well. Leeds United have some tricky fixtures coming up, so you'd want to be very considerate with your selection. Liverpool have a very good run coming up, so I think this would be the time to get some Liverpool players and see how it goes. City to have some moderate fixtures coming up, so you would want to get some City players, see how that goes. They take on Nottingham Forest, they take on Sunderland. After it ends with Chelsea, so the first two okay, so we could see how that goes, and they are in good form, so why not? Manchester United have some tricky sets coming on, and there's a team that just lost Bruno Fernandes, so you'd question how things go. Newcastle United have somewhat tricky fixtures coming up. they have Manchester United, Burnley, Crystal Palace. Let's see how that goes. Nottingham Forest, after they take on City, have some good fixtures coming up. Spurs have some tricky fixtures coming up. Sunderland, good then. So somewhat tricky fixtures. West Ham, some good fixtures coming up, but this is a West Ham team that are struggling. So would you want to keep your hope in them? It's up to you, but I highly do not recommend it. Wolves to have some tricky fixtures, so you could avoid teams like that. Keep your hopes in a team like Spurs. Keep your hope in a team like Newcastle. Keep your hopes in City, Liverpool. You could also, of course, don't forget Arsenal and Chelsea, because Chelsea not so much. You could use the Chelsea players as differentials, but you have solid players in Arsenal. You have very solid players in Liverpool, City, Newcastle, Spurs. Yeah, you should be good to go. So that's how it looks for the fixture difficulty rating. You want to get all that. Think about one or two things, whether you want to really change your team heading into game week 18, and what next for you. And I think you should be good to go. And take note, before game week 19 you'd have, or after game week 19, all your chips will expire, so you'd want to use your chips either game week 18 or game week 19, and you should good to go. I have one chip left, and I plan on using it before game, or on the game week 19, so I use it for game week 19, then I'm good to go. So this has been the post analysis for game week 17. It's not been too good, but we are okay. As I said, I'm focusing on differential, so I'm okay with that. I know and understand what I'm doing, and I've given in my videos. I always give you options. So if you took any of the options, I'm sure you'll be smiling. As I even said, you should captain Haaland. So let's stay tuned, and we look forward to game week 18. Whether we could also hit some greens with game week 18 using differentials, and we wrap it all on game week 19 with the differentials, and see how it's been so far using differentials for the first half of the season. So kindly stay tuned. There's the festive period. Be safe out there. Subscribe, like.